Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to Francisco Meira Jr. for this one. Amy attacks with Blade Instructor and Gryff Rider. What happens? Alright, first of all, let's notice that both of these triggered abilities trigger when the creatures attack. That means that they're both going to trigger at the same time, which means that Amy, the person who controls both those triggered abilities, is going to choose the order that they're put onto the stack. Now, let's take a look at what each of these triggered abilities actually does. If you remember my video where I talked about the differences between Coven and Training, you might remember one important takeaway from that video, which is that the Training ability only cares about the relative power of the creatures involved at one specific time, which is when that triggered ability triggers. After that point, if the relative power of the creature changes, or if the creature with greater power manages to get removed somehow, then that doesn't matter one bit. The Training ability will still resolve as normal and put the +1/+1 counter on. Contrast that with what happens with Mentor. As you can see here, Mentor targets a creature with lower power. That's important because we know that targets are checked for legality at two specific times. Once when the triggered ability is put on the stack, and again when the triggered ability is resolving. The target needs to be legal at both of those times in order for the triggered ability to do what it's supposed to do. Now, if the relative power of the creatures changes in this case, we'll notice that there's a difference. The target will no longer be legal, and the triggered ability will be countered because its target is not legal. That means that Amy needs to stack these triggered abilities in a very special order in order for this to work out the way she wants. Amy needs to have it set so that the Training ability resolves last and the Mentor ability resolves first. That way, the Gryff Rider will still have 2 power when the Mentor ability is resolving. And so, since its power is still lower, then the Gryff Rider will be able to get that counter from the Mentor, and then afterwards, even though the Training ability is going to see that the power of the Gryff Rider is now 3, that's not going to be a problem, because what we talked about before, the Training ability will continue to resolve with no difficulties, and both of these abilities will result in the counter getting put onto Gryff Rider. Notice that if they are stacked in the wrong order, what will actually happen is the Training ability will increase the Gryff Rider's power to 3 first, then the Mentor ability will be countered because the creatures will now have the same power. That's probably not the result you're looking for, which means it's really important to understand how these rules work if you're playing cards with these types of abilities in your deck. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.